The last structure on Myst Island has been built. I have rocket ships, I have mountains, I have giant trees. I've built redstone going from this building to that structure, from inside the library up the mountain. All the puzzles are put together. They are working, they're correct, but the part I've been dreading most is next. Hello and welcome. Let's see, what are we going to do today? Well, behind the scenes, off camera, I'm going to go through every puzzle from beginning to end and make sure they are working correctly. But what are we going to do for you today? Well, there are 3 projects that we need to get done. First of all, if you come up here, you can see that I already have a little bit of path work going on down through the middle of these pillars. I need to do way more of that. As a matter of fact, not just regular paths, but there are some very specific paths in the Myst design that I want to try to recreate. So that's the one thing we need to do, is kind of make the paths between all the builds correct so that it's easy to get from one to the other and understand what it is you're trying to do. The next thing is, this single tree should not be the only tree on the island. Now, none of the other trees are going to be anywhere close to that size. Matter of fact, they're going to be quite a bit smaller in reality. I want that thing to stand above everything in a really big, obnoxious kind of way. And it's doing that perfectly. And I don't want to ruin that by adding a bunch of super tall trees around it. What I need to do is create a bit of an environment that makes it more interesting to walk through. You know, when you're coming up this pathway, it shouldn't be very obvious that there's a cabin right there, or that there's a clock at the end of the path. Trees can add mystery, and they can also add a little bit of help in providing direction of where to move around in a game's environment. So we need to add some more trees, and then finally, I need to do something about all these mobs. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to make this island totally safe, or mostly safe, for someone running around day and night without any armor or weapons or anything. And I guess I'm gonna have to light it up. I thought about creating fences. You can see over here, I kind of started it. I was kind of blocking this area off with fence, and I was thinking I could just like fence off the areas where you're going to be playing and not worry about the others, but then I remembered skeletons. You could literally just be standing here and die to a skeleton. So I think the best thing to do is to do everything I can to light up the area. So let's work on paths first. And the first thing I want to do is get more of these dirt paths in. That's the simplest thing to do. So let's add some more of the dirt paths, and then we'll work on something a little bit more interesting. Okay, some super simple paths here. I'll do some more decorating. This is more just the structure of the paths. I wanted to make sure to have paths going all the directions they needed to go, up to the different buildings. I chose to use these mud bricks for the stairs, mainly because they're uninteresting. In the original game, technically what it was very faded, packed down grass paths. So this is already kind of way more exaggerated than it was in the original game. So I decided I wanted to keep it as scaled down as possible and simple. So I went with the mud bricks because I feel like they went kind of best with the path blocks without looking very obtrusive. Also, I think I'm going to be using some mud brick walls maybe later to add some lanterns onto and maybe help also define the path's direction. So I feel like that's the least obtrusive or audacious or interesting. It seems weird to want to find something not interesting, but these paths really need to kind of melt away to allow the builds around you to pull the attention. Okay, now I do have a path though I do want to pull a little bit of attention because I want it to look almost exactly like the original game. So they had a very interesting wooden plank kind of walkway that led from here all the way to the library. And as you see, I hinted at it a little bit here with the acacia. This path is going to be more decorative than functional. So I'm going to use some alternating acacia planks and some acacia trapdoors to give this plank-like walkway. As you can see, it's a little bumpy to walk across, but it looks almost exactly like the original. Here, take a look. Yeah, you don't have the trapdoors in between them, but that is my one concession to nicety. I feel like it's a little less bumpy with the trapdoors there than if they weren't there, and plus it looks kind of nice. I'm gonna alternate them, but I do want to make sure, I do want to make sure that I am using the planks to do steps. So I'll probably do something like this, maybe take out some, and then do, I'm messing up everywhere while I'm talking. All right, and then do something like that to have the walkway. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I just know this is what I want visually, so I'll have to play with it bit by bit to hopefully make it go the right direction. It's got to steer a little over here and go right next to this building. It's got to make it up this dirt. I may have to like mine some of the dirt out of here and then have it go all the way over to here, right up against this one onto this path. Let me play with it and I'll be right back. All right, there we go. What do you think? I think it looks just like it does in the original game. It's a little weird to walk down, but you know, sometimes you gotta make sacrifices for beauty, right? Well, this looks good and everything, but I was almost blown up by 2 different creepers while putting it here. So I think the next objective is going to be lighting up the whole island. I'm gonna start kind of counterintuitively. I'm going to actually torch spam the entire island. I need to make sure I can get through an entire night without any mobs showing up. Then I can try to make things look pretty. I'm afraid if I focus too long and just making it look nice that I won't put enough light down. So yeah, so I'm gonna start with a torch spam, and then we'll kind of, I don't know, pull out all the stops. We'll hide lights, we'll put out some lanterns, we'll do, all the tricks that we can think of to try to light up the island in a nice, pretty way without just torches everywhere. Why did I wait so long to torch spam this island? I've been fighting off mobs non-stop as I built all these builds. I had so many things blown up, and I just kept working around them. What was I thinking? This is amazing. I know I now have to convert all this into like less visible torches, lighting and stuff, but oh my gosh. So, okay, I have my work cut out for me. I'll see you back in a few hours. As the moon starts to rise on our newly secured and safe island, I only have one thought. I think I'm starting to miss time lapses. I did a ton, and I mean a ton of work, and I couldn't think of a way to show it off. If you remember the beginning of this project, I said I was going to go without time lapses. I did some flybys in RTX, I've done some quick reveals, I've done some tutorial stuff, and I'm running out of ideas of what to do, especially on something like this. So let me just show you the things I've done. So yes, I've done a lot of these carpets, but then I would bone meal some grass around all the locations to kind of disguise them a little bit. I also, underneath these slabs, I've got torches, and also I've got along the walkways, I have the lanterns. Back here with the mountain, I did a couple little tricks. Let's see, over here. Where, oh yeah, here. So instead of fencing this off, instead of what I did is I made a pit. I made a pit right through here so that anything coming off the mountain can't get over this direction. And you shouldn't need to go over there for any reason. So that should work perfectly. And then on the other side, I did do a fence because I thought a white picket fence actually kind of looked nice. I thought it was really appropriate for the area, so I went with it. There we go. Just a white picket fence, mainly bordering off the mountain. I went around here to the side, and then I also made sure that everything down there was too tall on the bottom so that no mobs could actually climb up these stones and get to you. So I think that's it. I think it's safe. I think it's pretty. I think it's lit up. And now we're ready for some trees. And once again, I faced with the time-lapse problem. So I think the best course of action here is to hop into a creative world and actually do a little bit of building with you on camera and designing these trees together. That's like a good idea because I'm not going to time-lapse me building the trees. So I guess, not tutorials, I guess building it together and figuring out 3 types of trees would probably be the most entertaining thing to do. It's actually the thing I'm most interested in doing. So let's have some fun doing that, yeah? Now the first tree I actually want to use is not one I want to design. I want to use one of the standard trees you find in the game to once again incorporate more Minecraftiness into this project. And I'm going to use these. These old growth spruce trees are perfect. They've got lots of leaves going all the way down to the bottom like that. And they're great. Now I'm gonna have to build these by hand still though, more or less. Because you can't always get this exact design whenever you grow it. So what I'll do is I'll put down 4 saplings, saplings, not sprucelings, and then we'll just grow them, and then I will augment them as needed to get the look that I want, so that I have a bunch of these tall trees to match up with the super mega tree, more or less. Okay, I found myself a little patch over here on the edge to work, and I feel like the small trees will be the easiest ones to do, so let's do them first. 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe? No, let's go a little bit taller. 7, 8. Okay, let's give that a start. Then we're gonna put in some branches, kind of spread throughout. I mainly want the branches to be low. And then I'm keeping the foliage really low on this thing because the whole point of these trees is to hide what's going on in other places around the island. This is supposed to intentionally obstruct the view of the person looking at it. So we want to make them really bottom heavy. Very much like a little Christmas tree. That's pretty good at the moment. Let's start adding a little bit more up here. Going a little bit higher. I'm gonna add some and then we'll start taking some away. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's close to what I'm wanting to go with. Let's do maybe a little bit down here. Yeah, I don't think I like that. Actually, I was encouraged to leave gaps. So if you apparently leave gaps in the tree, then it actually makes it look fuller. Okay, I think we're getting there. I need to maybe fill in a few gaps that I shouldn't have left. Like that. Okay, I think this is looking really good. The problem is getting it to look good from every angle. I really love that angle. Nope, I love that angle. There we go. I really love this angle. I feel like a couple of them, this is a little square, so maybe if we did something like that helped a little bit. Okay, I think I like this from just about every angle. That's my least favorite angle. I think maybe if I just do a little adjustment here, maybe? That might actually help. No, I don't like that at all. Oh, but I do like the branch sticking out like that. A little extra structure there. Okay, I think that's what I want to go with right there. I just, all you're doing is basically going around in circles, making sure that every angle looks good. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to not look, in my mind, too square, which is a dumb thing to say with everything being blocks. But I think it's okay if it sticks out a little bit more on one side than the other side. Yeah, I think I like it. I think I will, though, do that. Yeah. I definitely like that a lot more. Okay, all right. Well, that was super simple. That's just a small tree. I will have a ton of these. And even though I poo-pooed it in the beginning, I think I will occasionally put like a block or two down here, down low, just to help further block the view of things around. I think that would actually look good. How about that? Oh, you know what? That's even better. That's even better. Okay, yeah. No, I didn't like this idea before, but I like it really, really much now. That's perfect, because then as people are walking around at this height, it obstructs their view a little bit. You can still see peeking through little things here and there, but you shouldn't get a clear view of the different builds until you get closer to them. All right, like I said, that's probably the easy one. Now we have to build the medium-sized one. And I'm not positive I know what I want to do. I think the first thing I want to do is make the trunk slightly bigger. So I was thinking some of these nether brick walls might be kind of good, particularly just in the beginning. And then as we get inside of the tree, we can just really, oh my gosh, come on. With as much designing as I do in creative, you think I would be able to how to do this, but I'm not doing very well. Okay, I think that's good. The leaves will start about here. So that's okay that the brick walls stop there. And then I think I want to do some pretty substantial branches sticking out. So let's just, let's try a few different sizes here. Maybe do a short one here and maybe a longer one here. Yeah, this is looking good. I like this. And then, I don't know, like this. Okay. That's cool. Maybe one there. One there. That's doing pretty good. That's one too long, I think. And definitely this one's too long. To be honest, I feel like this is where most of the work in designing a tree really goes. There are lots of I know some really amazing tree builders, and some of you actually are amazing tree builders. So I don't have a lot to say to some of you, but I feel like this is where most of the design goes into a tree. Once you kind of have a structure, after that, you're just basically throwing a bunch of leaves on and then cutting them away to get the look that you're looking for. So let's do that. Let's just throw on a bunch of leaves. And there we go. Throwing on leaves with very little care to what you're doing. I just knew I wanted that cone shape. By the way, yes, I'm aware that every tree I'm making is like some size of a Christmas tree, because that's basically what the game has. If you look in Myst, every single tree is some form of like a spruce tree. So I decided to stick with that. I thought that was like the best way to stay true to the original material. So now at this point, even though I'm actually pretty happy with this, what I want to do is play with it and poke some holes in it. I want to make a few things visible. I want to, like I said, by poking holes, hopefully exaggerate some things and allow it to actually look more full without looking just dense. You know what I mean? There we go, a little bit of a trim. I took out some of the blocks on the inside, ones that you probably wouldn't see that much, but by taking them out, like here, there we go, take that one out. By taking them out, it allows some of the light to actually shine through from the sky. And funnily enough, just because it's not a solid brick anymore, it seems fuller and more interesting because you can see through it. Now I want to add a few more things. In a couple of the gaps where I feel like there's too much of a gap, I do want to add a couple of these as if they're branches sticking through. There we go. I like that. The one change I'll probably make to it is that base. I think I can go one block higher on the base to give a little bit more difference between these two trees, make it a little bit taller, and I think that will work out. Okay, that is the plan. These are the little trees that'll be mainly there to obscure people's view. We'll have the big trees to provide the difference, and then these medium ones will kind of fill in all the areas in between. What do you think? Do you like the trees? And they turned out really well. Now all I have to do is build them. We're not doing time lapse, so I guess I'll see you when I'm done. Yeah, sure. I'll see you when I'm done. After days and days of work and many, many hours, I gotta tell you, all those trees from up here on the mountain look a little pitiful. I did so much work. Why does it look so pitiful up here? Fortunately, it looks great from down below. Let's get down here and I'll show you the perspective of the player. So the player will arrive down here on the dock, and already it's kind of hiding some of that view back there. All you see are trees. Yeah, there's the big one, which is obvious, but it's not the only thing you see. And then when you come around, it's already blocking. It's doing exactly what it needs to do. See, you can't really see the cabin back there. You see a little bit of the roof, but you don't really see it. It's perfect. And yeah, you can kind of see that in the distance, probably more than I would want, but only from there. Once you come down here, oops, I forgot a torch. Once you come down here, it starts to obstruct it perfectly. And you start feeling like you're in the middle of some woods. You still don't see the cabin over there. You start to see the clock, but once again, not perfectly. It's just giving you a hint of what's back there. And then the power station's kind of hidden. There we go. It's not supposed to be perfectly hidden. These aren't like jump scares or anything. You're not supposed to be like, hard to find or appearing out of nowhere. You're just supposed to get, a little bit of mystery as you move along. And then when you come out here, obviously that's seen really well. That is a perfect view through there. Look at that. That is amazing. Right down that alley there. And of course, we have the cabin tucked in here among the trees. It looks so good. I love it so much. I still need to go through and fine tune some of the redstone, but the build on the island is done. I think it is time for an RTX reveal. Yeah? Let's check it out. Well, there we are. What do you think? It's amazing, right? It looks so good. It's been a long process, but I'm so glad we're here. I have something very important actually to finish up with next week, but the island itself is actually done. So I hope that you have enjoyed this whole process. I hope that you love the island as much as I do, and I hope that you find it adequate.